I'm gonna share my screen. Can you see my screen?
No.
You can't see my screen, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Abby's coming up. I would say go ahead and start. It's 5 o'clock.
Yep, 501. All right, David, you want to kick it off?
Well, hello, everyone who's joined us. And I want to say to Peter, thank you for the kind words. Means a lot when we get input from the public on how our staff and just our contractors and everyone are interacting with the public. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, she was, like I said, very pleasant, very open to communicating, told me to take care of some things around the house. And if there's any problems, she was like, we want you to come down early rather than it becoming a big problem. She said just to flag any of the guys down. She's usually on site, or there was another woman that she said to ask for. But like I said, very pleasant interaction.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for those kind words. Yeah, I'm very lucky with the staff we got. My name is David Graham, the sewer director for the town of Nantucket. With me tonight, I have Ziad Carey, who's a senior principal. He's a designer of the third force main from C Street Pump Station. And then Frank Ayotte is with Hazen. He is the town's owner's project management manager. So he's kind of overseeing everything. It's in between myself and the project. Also with us tonight, I had the grid view here a second ago. I know Erica was on board here, and I believe we had the contractors also on board here, Abby, from Robert B. Our company. So with that, I will turn it over to owner's project management, Frank.
You're on mute, Frank.
Can't hear you. Do you want to try logging off and log back in? Kevin Kuster's joining.
I had some notes.
There's Kevin. No, go, Frank.
All right, I could probably take this on in the interest of time, right? Frank, I'm not sure if you could hear, but so I'll take this. So basically, we'll on today's description, we'll talk about the project description and the need for the project, even though this is the second year that we're in construction. We'll briefly discuss the force main alignment, why this alignment was chosen, and what was completed to date. I know, again, we've been in construction for 2 years almost now. We'll talk specifically about what is going on this winter, spring in terms of construction on Liberty Street and what to expect during construction. And we briefly touch on the construction schedule between now and Memorial Day, because summertime is the summer moratorium that we cannot be working out there. We shut it down, we come back in September, and then we could give you an opportunity to ask questions. So the need for the project, if you all remember back in 2018, the town had suffered catastrophic failure with this 16-inch
I got it.
soil force main. And that force main basically ruptured and all the wastewater was going into the harbor back in 2018. Again, the force main was constructed, the initial one on the bottom middle picture was constructed in 1930s, consisted of a 20-inch cast iron pipe, and it was later lined with an HDPE pipe sometimes in the 1980s, 84, 86. And of course, it's been in the ground for almost 50 years. It ruptured and it was catastrophic. So the results were, the town had incurred some serious expenses to repair the force main. And not to mention, yes, they repaired the force main, but it is old enough that you cannot rely on it for the foreseeable future. So the town turned its attention to implementing and designing a new force main that would replace this 16-inch or the 20-inch cast iron pipe. And of course, they have a second force main that is also almost 50 years old. It's made of ductile iron pipe, and it needs to be assessed. It's overdue. So the intent is once this new third force main is commissioned and active and operational, the town's going to assess the existing 20 and then they retire the 16-inch plastic force main that was installed in the 1980s. So the alignment, we did an alternative analyses. We worked with the town and the owner's project manager, and we looked into various routes along the alignment. And the intent was always to connect the point A to point B. Point A, B, the C Street pumping station, and then point B is the wastewater treatment plant on South Shore Road. So there's multiple ways you could connect the dots in between, but the intent was to maximize on the effort and replace all aging infrastructure along the alignment. We considered the shortest alignment. Of course, we looked at the economics of it too. Along the chosen route, which basically started at C Street and then went up Step Lane, took a right on Center, Olive, Lily Street, Liberty Street, and then Winter, Pine. We crossed we'll be crossing Main Street, and then we get into Pine, Silver, Pleasant, Atlantic. It's all listed in that table below here. But the Board of Selectmen and everybody on board during the alternative analyses portion decided to go with this option because it made the most sense. It took advantage of aging infrastructure along the way, and it was feasible and economical compared to the other ones. Again, it was the shortest route from point A to point B. There's no impact to wetlands or anything like that. We also had to take into consideration the existing 20-inch force main, and we wanted to provide a way to cross-connect the new force main to the old one to be able to take a segment or segments of that force main for operation and maintenance purposes. Every single route presented its own set of challenges, but the Board of Selectmen approved this back in 2021, and we proceeded with this design, and here we are in year 2 of construction. Again, as I mentioned early on, the intent was to address aging infrastructure along the way, and primarily is water mains, gravity sewer, some drainage along the way that needed to be upgraded if it was in the way of the force main, but primarily to take care of the water and wastewater infrastructure.
I don't think this is going to be relevant to us, but I just want to hear what they
I'm
say.
gonna throw this out.
So in summary, what was completed to date, this is the entire route from the C Street pump station along the streets that I just mentioned, all the way to the wastewater treatment plant. There's approximately 20,000 linear feet. Anything that is highlighted in lime green has been completed. And then what's left is that blue, the blue portion. So on the right side where my mouse is hovering up here, it's the connection at the wastewater treatment plant on South Shore Road. And then what's left here down below in it's Liberty Street, Winter, Crossing Main, and then Pine and Silver Street, adjacent to the parking lot on Silver Street. The force main itself was designed to be a combination 20-inch to 24-inch. It switches to 24-inch beyond the Surfside sewer pumping station, the one that just recently completed. And it's made of robust schedule DR18 PVC pipe. Again, in summary here, the 24-inch sewer force main from Surfside to the treatment plant is 100% complete. That is really the half of Surfside Road and all of South Shore Road. About 62% of the 20-inch has been completed to date. That's from C Street, Step Lane, Center, Lily, and then Atlantic Ave and Surfside on the opposite side of the island. And then here we are today on Lily Street, on Liberty Street, completing that remainder of the sewer force main. The 70% of the valves and the access control structures have been in place, and 40% of the gravity sewer and the water main. It seems like a lot's been done. The contractor's been very diligent about doing this work, considering the short construction duration here, because obviously we can't work in the winter time, and then we come back in mid-September, and then we work all the way through Memorial Day. Restoration is a very large piece of this project. The pipeline is nothing easy about it, but then of course the restoration is going to be time consuming. And to date, we only have about maybe less than 5% of the restoration piece completed. And restoration meaning it's paving, sidewalk, curbing, brickwork, cobblestone, Belgian block, and then any lumen seed that is required along the alignment. So the winter spring construction on Liberty Street, basically what we have, we started about a week ago on the 22nd of February, and then it's going through May 31st, 2024. By May 31st, we intend to be out of the alignment, out of the roadway, complete with a pipeline, and we're going to do temporary restoration before we come back in the fall of in September 2024. So in summary, we have about 875 feet of 20-inch PVC sewer on Liberty. A lot of it's going to be deep. It's going to be time consuming, and it could be slow go at times, but we're going to make every effort to get to that point, hopefully by the end of construction season. There is about 650 feet of the PVC gravity sewer and associated services along the way, left and right of the roadway. And then somewhere around 875 linear feet of 6-inch DI water main. Today, you see that the contractor is stringing the bypass, a water main bypass. That's the first thing that goes on the road there, and they rip out the old water main, put in a new one, test it, commission it, and then we'll remove the bypass when it's complete. Typical working hours, they're usually between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Oftentimes, if we run into trouble, we tend to work a little bit late. And now that the days are getting longer, sometimes the crew loses a day due to weather, whether it's snow, rain, or maybe the boats are not running. So sometimes they're trying to make it up during the week, but oftentimes you see that the contractor's working between 7 and 5 p.m. The roadway on Liberty Street will be closed 24/7, 24 a day to through traffic. If you live on and within the work zone there, you should be able to access your property, your driveway. The crews, I know Peter, you mentioned Lexi and the flag staff, the police officers. They make every effort to make sure that they accommodate the pedestrians. If you need to get into your driveway in and out, they'll make sure they accommodate this. They've been working very diligent. It really happened on other part of town, all the downtown piece, Lily Street, Center Street, Step Lane. It's been really ongoing for almost 2 years now. Again, there'll be no on-street parking. Nothing will be allowed. If somebody needs to get into their house, like in and out quick, just make sure you tell the flagman, make sure you tell the crew or the police. They will make sure that they will accommodate this. And but again, no on-street parking will be allowed in that during that duration. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. You know, the nothing about this job is easy. So at times you may seem that the crew is there for you know, few days, and sometimes things are a little bit easier, so they're in and out pretty quick. If there is an issue, the phone number for the sewer department is provided here in this presentation, and we'll show it here a couple times along the way. So again, this is the from Thursday to 22nd. We approximately the duration of this will be about 8 weeks, hopefully a little bit less than that, but let's plan on 8 weeks. This figure shows a 24-hour full closure except for residents. And again, construction hours are between 7 and 5 p.m. As we did in the downtown piece, all the delivery trucks, whether it's propane, you know, any heating, deliveries, they've always been coordinated. Now we know the drill. The suppliers know the drill. They'll contact us and then we'll make arrangements. Nobody was left off, all of the downtown, and there'll be no different here moving forward. So here's the number for the sewer department. If you have any questions, any complaints, any issues that needs immediate assistance, it's extension 7800, and this will be posted also on the project website. This figure here shows, if you look at the you know, anything that's dashed here represents the work area, which in this instance, it's on Liberty Street. And anything that is on lime green will be the traffic pattern. And then the hashed area would be the road closure, right? So again, for example, if you live, if you're here within the stretch and then you can't really continue down on Liberty Street, you could just come up and then you find your way around the work zone. If you live on this portion of Liberty Street and then you can't really get through there, you talk to the flagger, you talk to the policeman or the crew members, and they'll let you go in the opposite direction to exit the work zone. There'll be plenty of construction signage. Like I said, people are on site 7 to 5 at a minimum, and you could feel free to roll your window down, talk to Lexi, the crews, the flagmen, the policemen, and everybody's happy to assist. Construction signage, left photo here. This is the intersection at Hussey Street and Center. There's a flagman that's sitting there with a construction sign that says road closed to through traffic. Now, if you happen to live there, like you, Peter, I'm sure they'll know you by name in a little bit, but make sure you roll your window and let them know where you're going, and they'll be happy to assist. Gardner Street is the same way here. There will be a detour sign with a road closure, you know, unless you live in this little stretch between here and Liberty. Same thing, same condition, Liberty Street at Gardner and North Liberty at Woodbury Lane. The signs will be there, and then folks will be there to assist as well. So the expectations, sometimes you're going to see people walking around with, you know, doing some construction photographs and videos, and it's really nothing but to make sure that, you know, documenting existing conditions of surface features, foundations, walls, anything adjacent to the excavation, just to make sure that we're not making the situation any worse than it was. This is a requirement of the contract, and it will be documented and it's available. They will be installing some monitoring points, whether it's a crack gauge, a settlement point, to make sure that nothing is settling or moving as a result of construction. They'll be doing some layouts and survey, painting the pavement, putting some PK nails, line and grade that would help them assist the contractor with the installation of the pipeline and making sure that the pipe is installed in accordance with the contract document. There will be a lot of ongoing detours, signage, movements, shutdowns, and closures. And again, there will be plenty personnel there to assist if you have any questions or any comments on this. Once that's done, the excavation in the roadway will take place. The excavation, replacing pipeline, installing pipeline, backfilling, compacting, and then doing temporary trench until the plant opens up in April 2024. This is when asphalt becomes available, and before the contractor leaves the site in May, the road will be temporary paved, and then so is the sidewalk. If you see the sidewalk ripped up today, whether it's brick or if you see like granite curbing out of the ground, rest assured that this will not be the case after Memorial Day. Everything will be put into place, whether it be temporary paving for the sidewalk, but at least the sidewalks and the roadways will be passable until the final restoration takes place in the fall or in the spring of 2025. We talked about the crack gauges and the monitors. This is what they look like. This is a crack gauge. Basically, if you have an existing crack in the foundation, this is just a sample photo anyway. If you have a foundation wall, a brick wall, anything surface feature adjacent to the excavation, we usually put a crack gauge on it to make sure that the construction is not impacting the crack in the foundation, an existing crack or any movement for that matter. Same thing with a PK nail that measures vertical displacement or movement of anything as a result of construction. And again, these instruments intended to protect the homeowner and to make sure that there's no damage being done as a result of construction. These photos have been taken from the Center Street project last year. Again, typical construction would be you rip up the pavement, you remove any Belgian block, any cobbles or anything that may exist below the roadway. If the sidewalks are impacted, the brickwork would be removed and stacked. So is the granite curbing. This will be followed by trench excavation. Some of the pipeline is fairly deep. Sometimes it's about 10, 12 feet deep, so it requires trench box and then some supportive excavation. This would be followed by pipeline construction. In this case, on the right, that's a water main replacement project along the way. And then the photo on the left, you can see the old pipe is taken out of the ground. New pipe will be installed, backfill, compaction. This is the pipeline on the left side. That's the sewer force main on surf side. There is a crushed stone envelope to protect the pipe. And then backfill, compaction, and then paving. Again, paving, the plant opens up in April here this year. So we're not going to see any paving until April. But again, before we leave the site by Memorial Day, everything will be paved, temporary paved. So the schedule for Liberty Street, I know we started on 2/22/2024. That was a week ago. As promised, we're going to be wrapping up by Memorial Day 2024. And it all depends on the extent of the restoration. Restoration could begin as early as fall of 2024, would be middle of September, October, November, or it will be pushed off until spring of 2025, depending on the nature of the restoration and what is involved in the restoration process. Once again, questions, comments, concerns, call the sewer department, and they always get a hold of us. And either Francesca, Lexi, myself, we always return the calls. And then we keep track of who's calling and the nature of the complaint, or if you have any concerns whatsoever, whether it's delivery, somebody needs to get in and out of their house, anything related to construction, please feel free to call, and we'll be more than happy to return the call for you. So with that, we'll be happy to take questions.
You want us to raise hands?
Feel free
I
to-
think Lucy Dillon was ready to go first, if you don't
I
mind.
am. Hi. I'm on the
Hi.
corner of, hi, Erica. I'm on the corner of Liberty and Liberty. And they're out front now. And I have severe lung disease from an unknown exposure source. So one thing that's really been bothering me is the unnecessary truck idling, which I understand is not legal. We've had to say something once or twice already today. But I do have other questions. The curbing, excuse me, my breathing is difficult. The curbing height along in front of my house, I measured along the whole path and gave it to the sewer department. David Gray has it. The curbing was high because when we get those very heavy rains, it gushes down Gardner and to Liberty. And if I don't have high curbing, my basement will flood. If my basement will flood, I will get mold and then I'm in real trouble. What I'm asking for really is a bank of sandbags along my fence to prevent that curbing. And it's going to have to be as much as 4 inches high, I believe, in a lot of the area. Another thing is the water ever going to be turned off? I did put a generator in as a precaution before this started, but is the water ever going to be turned off? Because I'm not mobile without limited access to carrying my oxygen. I have 24-hour oxygen in the home. But the water is what I'm concerned about.
So the water will not be turned off. Water will be, Abby, you're on the call, feel free to jump in. The water will not be, or Sean for that matter, but there will be temporary water. That's the first order. We put the temporary water line and we no interruption in the water service whatsoever. And then once the new pipeline is in, tested, commissioned, and approved to be commissioned, we discontinue. It'll be like a short, maybe less than half an hour to switch the services. But we will note your location, and then we'll make sure that people coordinate with you when we come to that point on the water.
Okay, I really appreciate that. I had talked to the fire chief. He did come and visit me. But besides that, as long as the sewer and water are pretty much going to be on almost every minute, it's great. But the curbing, I am concerned about. And I just thought sandbags would do the thing. I can send David Gray a copy of the specs that I had sent him when Rob McNeil was head of the DPW.
So the curbing will be installed back to a minimum 4 inch of reveal. So that way you'll have it. For the time being, if you have a concern about flood, we will talk to the contractor to make sure we have some contingency in there. So nothing, to kind of mitigate any potential flooding for your property.
Yeah, because when it comes rushing down that street, I mean, it's a real gusher.
Sure.
Thank you.
One
I
other
think
thing
it's a
too,
great-
that we're gonna be adding some drainage along that area in front of your house. Some
Yeah.
some catch basins and everything, so we're gonna improve the situation that you guys have there now.
Okay,
So
good.
that we get rid of all that ice and everything that forms every winter, so that's also part of this.
Yeah, but I'm just concerned. I mean, I appreciate that very much. I'm just concerned about, let's say we get one of those gushers next week.
Yeah.
I don't want a wet basement that's growing mold.
Yep, that's all, we will address that for you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
just a couple other points I know David's aware, but so that everybody's aware is that there's a, healthcare worker here every day between 7 and 5 o'clock. And then I'm here from 5 o'clock every day on after that. But I just really want to stress about the idling trucks. And frankly, I think it should be part of your presentation so that people are aware, because I'm not the only neighbor who has an issue, or we're not the only neighbors who have issues with, lungs and breathing right in this area. But I have gone out 3 times for the past 2 days and had to ask to have them shut off. And when they're parked right in front, that exhaust is blowing, 10 feet away into these old windows, and Lucy's getting the headache. And I know it's I know that it's an accommodation, but we really have to work to make it happen, because it's really dangerous for her. So
Thank you.
that's all.
Thank you for bringing this up. We will discuss the truck idling with the contractor. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Thanks, much appreciated.
Sure.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thanks, Erica.
I know you have your hand up, Marcia, but I think Paula was waiting next.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. Sorry I was late. I couldn't find the Zoom link. My first comment or question is I have 29 and 31 Liberty. And one thing we have learned over the 70 years of owning at least one of those houses is that the sewer lines are not always, people have not always known where their sewer line went. So I'm hoping that you're really looking carefully, because the sewer line at 31 Liberty goes forward into Liberty Street. The sewer line at 29 Liberty goes backward, as I would say, into Thurston Court. And there was an incident 12 or so years ago where the 31 Liberty sewer line was cut off during some repair. Nobody understood that we needed the Liberty Street for that. So I hope everyone's taking notes and creating a much better and more modern map of things. My second point was going to be, and again, I may have missed some things. At 31 Liberty, we typically, well, in both houses, we have the water turned off, but at 31 Liberty, we intended to turn on water and start heat, because we have a family member going there in mid-April. And so that will be a change from what is currently the status. And typically, to get our heat on, the town has to be involved too, because it's radiator heat. The town has to be involved. So I just want to say, is there something else I need to do rather than just tell our caretaker to do the usual process, so that we don't have a screw up and maybe ruin our heat system? So that's just a question if somebody wants to figure that out. My next comment is going to be about, I recognize that this is heavy machinery. I'm somewhat concerned because at 29 Liberty, we have a propane tank that is in our rose garden, and it's very close to the sidewalks.
Is it
And
buried?
it is a buried propane tank. Yes. And I recognize that buildings can be disturbed. And of course, I'm worried about the foundation on my house. That's a 1745 house. But I'm really worried about the propane tank if it gets disturbed in some way.
The sewer line, just so we're clear, that's not going down the sidewalk, correct? It'll be in the roadway?
So
Yeah, I may have missed that. Go ahead.
yeah, I just pulled up the Google map figure here. The force main alignment is on the opposite side of your properties. So it's on the other side of the roadway, right? Yes, the force main is fairly deep, but the sidewalk on your side will not be impacted.
Okay. Does that mean though are you picking up the sidewalk? I'm sorry, I missed the first 10 minutes.
We will not, well, we will be disturbing the opposite side of the sidewalk from you, but not your sidewalk.
That
sidewalk-
is super good news.
And in relation to the water main and the sewer services, I'm sorry, for 31 and 29. Obviously what we do is I know you had mentioned that you have pipes flowing opposite directions. But usually when we pick up the sewer service, we're gonna see where we're gonna be digging down to the service, so we're gonna know where the service ends and where it starts. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. And now you mentioned it, we're gonna have to pay extra attention to it. But
Yeah.
again, the sidewalk should not be impacting, the force main should not be impacting your propane tank, because we're gonna be on the opposite side.
Okay, great. And so my last question was going to be, you probably covered it when I wasn't here, about recreating the curbs and the sidewalk. So I'm hearing that the, what is that? The north side of the street will not, that sidewalk and curbing is going to stay unchanged?
So, let me share my screen again.
Thank you.
Sorry. See if I could do this the right way. You see this, Google map figure?
Yes,
So, sorry.
that's my house.
I gotta get back to that. I'm working with a small screen here, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Bear with me. So this sidewalk is gonna get disturbed, then we're gonna rebuild it. This one here, most likely we're not gonna touch it.
Great. Okay, that's good news. Thank you very much. And I think that's it.
Paul, the only thing that we may do is with the your sewer services, we plan on running new lines from the main to the at least to the backside of the sidewalk, so you'll have a new service coming in from the street anywhere we replace the sewer mains. So the note, I did write down again the propane tank location, so that's something that we definitely will keep an eye on, but we there may be just some minor disruption of the sidewalks, but it'll just be for the width of the trench for your sewer service.
Yes, and for 29 Liberty, which is the one with the propane, our sewer goes out the back.
To
Yeah.
Thurston's Court.
Yeah, it's 31 Liberty that goes out the front to Liberty.
Are you, by the way, are you on island when we get to that point? Are we close?
I am so sorry. No, I did, this all came as a surprise that you guys have been so efficient that you're ahead of schedule. Or what I thought it was going to be.
Now that we know the situation there, we noted it and we'll keep an eye on it moving forward for sure.
Thank you very much.
And we
You're
will
welcome.
like to, if we can get your caretaker's number and name, if you're not gonna be around, so we at least have a contact. You can either call my office and give it to the ladies at the office or email us.
Yes, I will send it to you. It's Jeff Folger.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Hi, Marcia. Why are you called Gail?
Today because I'm at Gail's house.
Ah.
Am I next, Erica?
Yeah, go right ahead, Marcia.
Yeah, I'm just brief. I definitely want to join in for the point that Lucy and Kevin made about the idling of the trucks, because I also have a lung condition, and just even and being in the old house, it seems to just permeate through the walls, even if I'm not outdoors. So I know I've asked a few times and they've been very accommodating, but sometimes if a vehicle or equipment has to sit there for half an hour, it really, really pollutes the air. So I really just say that I also greatly appreciate them turning off the equipment when it's not being used. But otherwise, the crew's been great. I have to schedule my life a little bit different, getting in and give myself some time to get out, but and it's pretty shocking to look at the street, but they've been really great to work with. So I thank you, all of you working on it, the project.
Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.
Just so you know, Marcia's at 36 Liberty.
Marshall's 36. Okay, thank you.
And I know, I just wanted to say, and I know Ziad touched on this a little bit earlier. You know, we've had comments about Center Street and about Lily Street and about the how the sidewalks haven't been restored. And it looks very different with just asphalt going from house to curb on the other side. That is not the final product. That is a temporary measure as we continue through with this project. We will be doing full restoration, which includes the curbing and the brickwork. All that material has been stored, marked, cataloged, and will all be going back in the same location. So please rest assured that it might take a little while for us to get there, but that will be put back the way it was. And Paula, I put the sewer email in the chat, so you know to email David.
I would say, Erica, that I'm a little worried about the summertime when we will just have an asphalted kind of berm. knowing that we're on a piece of the street that is so narrow that the cars are going to have a really, really good time with much greater width, and they're gonna be all over it and probably into the hedges. I wish there was something we could do to protect the houses close to that temporary sidewalk, but yeah, I know it is what it is.
Peter, did you have any questions? You're muted.
No, most of my questions were addressed. I'm at 25 Hussey Street, so it's mostly just getting in and out, making sure delivery people, propane, garbage, mail guys, and they all kind of know the drill, getting up and down the street. And then my other concern was the sidewalks going back to kind of what they looked like. I know, going up Center Street now, that's probably like Lily to Center Street. That's probably what it's going to look like over the course of the summer on Gardner. But no, everything's been very well presented, and we appreciate everybody's efforts.
Thank you. Mary, why don't you go ahead? Mary
Thank
Casey.
you. This is Mary Casey from the Hospital Thrift Shop, and I just joined in because I just wanted some clarity about how our volunteers can get to India Street. I see that it's the only one on the map that's not showing closed. Today I tried to turn onto Hussey and was told that I should probably just go down India the wrong way. So just to keep things simple around that area, we will cancel our donation days in March because we don't want to bring people downtown to have to navigate all this. But I'm just wondering about the timing. I'm hearing May 31st, and we do open on May 13th. So just a little clarity about how volunteers can get there at this point, or if we do have people who have an odd, donation here and there that they want to come by with.
You open on May 13th?
Yes, our opening day is May 13th, which is, as you all know, a big day on Nantucket.
So, before I jump too quick here, last year we were on Lily Street, and Lily Street is one of those, I'm gonna call it one of the most difficult ones along this force-main alignment. And I think we were done by, the intent was to work through, up to Memorial Day, but I thought we wrapped up about the 15th of May, and that included paving and then just clean up and everything else. And again, here, I think we hopeful that, we talked about this in the project meeting early today. The intent is to just wrap it up as quickly as we can, clean up, and then, we have a target on May 31st, but we hoping, to be done ahead of that. I think when we get closer to that, feel free to reach out, and then we could give you an update, at the beginning of, towards the beginning of May or something like that, just to make sure where we're at and if we have to make any adjustments.
Okay. One question though, in the short term, could volunteers, including myself, drive down Hussey, turn left and get onto India, or not? Gardner is completely closed. I'm just, because our parking for the shop is on India Street and behind the shop on Hussey Street. And I could connect with you offline, so I'm not taking other people's time, but the volunteers are definitely asking me, and we do work all winter. And their concern now is they're parking in town and they're worried about getting a ticket, which, they don't want to come volunteer at the thrift shop and have a ticket because they can't access our parking.
So which way would they be coming in from?
Well, if they come to, like today, I came down Center. I tried to take a left Hussey. I was thinking I'd go to the end of Hussey, take a left onto India, but the who, by the way, was very nice and helpful. Again, I want to echo what everyone else has said. The crews have been great, very helpful, very courteous. So he suggested instead that I just go around and drive down India the wrong way, which was fine today, but there was a truck heading down while I was coming the wrong way on India.
So India is not on our map, and I guess
Oh.
we're going to need to consider how people get access to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one way off of Gardner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you know, there aren't many residents there at the moment, but you know, even though we're closed, it's a pretty active place year round. And today was a perfect example of that. Myself, as well as several volunteers, couldn't come. And once they arrived, they said, "Oh, I had to park on Main Street. I hope I don't get a ticket."
Mary,
So-
is your parking lot in the back off of Hussey?
We have one behind the shop on Hussey. It fits four spots, but then
Yep.
they would have to exit from there and go somewhere. I don't know
Well,
if down
They would go back Hussey the other way towards center.
the wrong way. Okay.
Yep.
And then have a full driveway on the side of the shop,
Yep.
which they'd have to access the wrong way from Center Street. So it's just with Gardner being closed, it's eliminating, you know, our access going the right direction. I'm sorry, I'm outside. If my audio is wobbly, I apologize.
You're fine.
Okay. So I could, you know, again, I could connect with whomever could help me on this offline, because I'm sure other people have questions, but I just want to get some answers for the volunteers, and certainly if it goes beyond opening day, that'll be a concern for us.
Okay,
We'll follow up with you, Mary.
we'll follow up.
I've got your contact info.
Yes, you do. Thank you, Erica. Thank you. Thank
Mary.
you. So
Okay.
Just Ziad, quickly, if Kevin is still on, are you gonna be around the house tomorrow, Kevin? If I can round up some sandbags here quickly to get them down to you, because I know next week is gonna be pretty wet.
David, he's right. I just pull him in.
Okay, just as long as you guys, if someone's gonna be there, maybe tomorrow I'll stop by and see you to take in, I'm gonna try to rally some sandbags as early as tomorrow for you guys.
Yeah, you know, I'm here all the time,
Okay,
unless I'm going to the hospital for a doctor's appointment or something. But I'll be here. Just come to the kitchen door
okay,
and knock, and one of my health aides will be there, and you can come in if you take your shoes off.
okay, no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to get
Great,
you them
thank you.
sandbags as soon as possible.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks, David.
David, anytime after 10 o'clock would be great.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Lucy,
David.
has there been any issues with your home health aide getting in and out to you?
Yes, there was.
Okay.
And I've left, they're not parking on the street. I leave parking in my driveway for them. But also another thing, I think you need to correct your map.
I know.
Liberty turns the corner.
Yep, we know.
Erica knows.
But they usually start at 7 and leave at 5.
Okay, so.
And they don't really need to get out much during the day, but it's also important, and we understand from the fire chief that at a moment's notice, a steel plate can be put down or whatever should an ambulance need to get in. So we need to have the coast clear if that's needed.
Yes, and that, Kevin, after we spoke, I think it was yesterday, I did talk to the CSO who was there and just reminded him to listen to the radio, that if an ambulance is headed that way, that they need to move pretty quickly, so
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Okay, tomorrow.
Any other follow-up questions from anybody? No?
Well, thank you for your time, your patience. This is not an easy project by any means. You know, again, this is the second year of construction. I know, but it gets easier, and hopefully, comes May 31st, we'll be out of your way.
Thank you, everyone who attended tonight, and feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
thank you all. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Night.